welcome to this conversation we're having regarding this qualification and programming, IT Systems Development Level 4, IT Systems Development Level 5. We're having this conversation to benefit others who would be interested in prospecting a career in the field of IT and particularly looking at programming so that they can have an understanding of what the program offers and hear comments from a facilitator, hear comments from a learner, someone who has done the program, so they can give them some insights themselves in making a decision and committing themselves to doing a similar program. I'd now like to invite Mr. Stefan Lauber, founder and CEO of iFundi, to share with us an overview of the training programs that are offered by iFundi.
iFundi has set itself the goal to help individuals either to enter the world of work or once they're at work to progress in their career. In that way, companies will then also have the necessary pool of skilled people that they need to succeed. Nowhere is that more true than in the IT area. Companies do not have the necessary talent, they are at risk. How does iFundi make sure that it has the people that companies want? In 3 ways. The first one, we put great emphasis, great effort, great investment in the development of good learning material. Especially in the area of IT, we have reached out to our colleagues in India who are on the leading edge of digital skills, consulting, and so therefore they're able to teach it also. Second thing is, when you go for an interview, the employer wants to know, are you able to do the job? Having just a paper-based certificate, having a paper-based certificate will get you through the interview, but it will not necessarily get you the job. So our program has an applied project that takes us through all the stages of programming. And at the end of the day, when you are done, you have a portfolio of evidence that you can show to a prospective employer. Lastly, as I mentioned to you, our programs are done by practitioners in the industry. These are consultants who in their day-to-day work get involved, are busy on big projects, and therefore are able to bring the world of work to the classroom. So together, we are able to produce people that are in demand by employers. Not only have we invested a lot in the development of digital skills programs, but we have also invested and make great progress in terms of our online learning system. The online learning system allows people anytime and anywhere to learn. But where it's really working best for all of us is our facilitated sessions. The learners are, irrespective from where they sit, able to interact with our facilitator, and the facilitator is able to share screen with them. When the learners get stuck, when they need any advice, they can hone in, they can zoom in and share a screen. And in that way, immediately help the learner to go forward. You want to go put your career on the rocket fuel, you want to go forward and succeed, IT programming is a wonderful way to start.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much, Stefan, for that overview. Very much appreciated. So welcome, Jordan. You're one of our participants, graduates from a program that was recently conducted. Could you share with us your learning journey? How was it for you as a learner, working in the industry, obviously in the field of IT, but still finding a need to do this? You did Systems Development Level 5, sort of a qualification.
My name's obviously Jordan, and I've kind of been in the industry for the past 10, 11 years. And I started very young when I had just matriculated, and I was offered an internship with a company out in Sandton. And I must say I probably got lucky. Having the advancement that I was kind of offered through the internship, and then onto a full-time position at a company that kind of poached me out of the other company. And that luck, that luck is, for many people, it's inconsistent, and it's it's kind of once in a lifetime to certain people, and it doesn't happen to everyone. So when I was introspecting, and I was talking to my girlfriend, he's currently doing her master's in digital business. This is someone who's in economics, and has decided that she also needs to approach digital business. I mean, that this tells you how far the digital age has kind of spread itself throughout industry. I mean, this is someone in banking is doing digital business. I mean, that's telling. So for me, I decided that I wanted to formalize my education, to take luck out of the equation, in getting advancement and getting career opportunities. And you can't just do that. South Africa's not San Francisco, where you can just go in, through a friend via into an Apple or to a Microsoft, which is in Redmond. But anyway, you can't just get into big tech through the back door, where they say, no, it's a degree is not relevant. I mean, you can get in there on your good name and whatnot. South Africa is a place that's built on paper entry, a degree that certifies you as a practitioner, or as a skilled practitioner of your craft.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for that, Jordan. Very much appreciate. So if you can stay with us for a while, that would be great. Somebody else might have a comment or questions for you. Very much appreciate. We would like to welcome Mr. Thabo. Thabo, great to see you. You see your visual there. Welcome.
All right, so can I turn the camera off now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Welcome, Thabo Mafokeng. You're from the IT Association. Thank you. We invite you now to share with us some insights about what's from where you sit, what do you see happening in the industry, and tell us what the prospects are for anybody who are looking into the IT industry, looking into things like programming, and what does this provide?
Thanks, Joel. I come from, as you have indicated, my name is Thabo Mofokeng. I'm the president of the IT Association of South Africa. We are an industry body that is made up of big multinationals like Microsoft, HP, and local big companies like BCX, as well as small companies like Solario Technology, which is my company, and a number of other micro enterprises in the ICT space within South Africa. So effectively, we represent companies that are participants in the IT environment. My take in so far as the technologies and the future is that software is definitely taking the world by storm. Bottom line is every machinery is run through some kind of a programming software solutions. So the interface between human beings and machinery is through software. So an understanding of software provides that baseline entry in terms of how we interact with computers, tablets, cell phones, any communication device, as well as robots. You would have been aware that there is robots taking the world by storm. There's robotics in industry. There is drones that you can utilize for surveillance purposes. Communications networks require they transmit a whole lot of data. You interface with data. You have to analyze large amount of data. Research, we are now in a pandemic situation. That as well, from a research point of view, you analyze data, and a lot of it is huge amounts of data. Down in the Northern Cape, we do have the SKA, which is a square kilometer array radio telescope. Now, the telescope itself collects a whole lot of data from outer space. That data need to be analyzed in high performance computing environment. So every environment that deals with computers, that deals with high performance data analytics, does require some form of software understanding from a user point of view. And then from a programming point of view, there are those that have got the right aptitude for talking to machines and programming machines, and basically building instructions for machines. And these machines can be any form of machinery. That require a whole lot of a better understanding of software. And then software is at the core of every instructions that the human being sends to machines, and accordingly the machines process such amounts of data and return it back into a more understandable language format. Even something as mundane as writing a spreadsheet or a web programming solution, that requires software applications. If you want to run a dictionary on your word processor, that is computing powers required there. Same goes to the internet. Internet itself is built on a programming language, and on top of that, there is various levels of programs that one can build on top of the basic underlying operating system. If you look at a browser, maybe as an operating system, you may want to run a banking application on top of that, or you may run a simulation application on top of that. That requires different levels of understanding of software. So our engagement with machines, and trust me, the world is becoming more and more reliant on machinery, more and more reliant on automation. So everything that can be programmed these days is being programmed. And as a result, the fundamental issue is that we've got to understand the language of communicating with machines. And that's where software comes into play. And it doesn't matter which industry you're at. Software is disrupting every industry that you can think of. Even in mining environment, you do have machineries that needs to be programmed. If you go to industries, auto manufacturing industries, there's lots of machineries. Companies like Console, for example, run multiple processes where you have to program machines at every stage of the production line. So the end result is there are a whole lot of applications that require a good understanding of software. And then the more skills you can acquire in the software terrain, the better you'll guarantee your future usage in the industry. I think I'll pause there. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Thabo. You have given a broad scope of understanding this interface between man and machine and how software is fundamental across the board. So what does that actually mean then? There are two things there. There is functional literacy on the one hand, and there is literacy in terms of understanding how these things work, and what is the need for technical support, what is the need for programmers, and so on. So is this something that is very aloof, that only people who at a certain level of education can access? What is the possibility for a matriculant, who is now finished high school and one's looking at a career in IT? What is the opportunity for such a person to enter into this level of, let us call it, digital literacy?
Joel, I think the key issue is that you need an entry point, regardless of where you are. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, but I think in this world, everyone does have a level at which they are comfortable with starting as a programmer or as a software specialist. Of course, there has to be a good grounding. So essentially, as a start, literacy is key. And then literacy in this case, I'm using it loosely as just a basic understanding of numeracy as an example, like basic maths and then basic ability to read. And there is also a requirement that you need to be able to think generally outside the box. You should have a curious mind. You should be willing to learn. And as you go through a software development environment, you need to be able to be willing to learn new things all the time. There is always twists and turns. But put it the other way around, somebody who is a cashier in a shop, you just need basic ability to switch on a computer, be able to do basic activities. Like, for example, if you are doing a sale, you need to be able to operate a scanner so that you can get the barcode across. And nowadays, we also have QR codes, and you need to be able to apportion the input information into whether it's a sale or whether it is a credit to the customer. So those basic fundamental issues are important. And for somebody who's a cashier, you don't need advanced levels of learning. So your basic understanding of computing is always a good start. You always need a foundation. Then once you've got a foundation, you can, just like you're building a house, you can start with bricks, put in some windows, and then eventually you paint the house, and then you provide paint into the house, and then there has to be a roof. So there are multiple levels, even in the software space. And then those that have got, I suppose, advanced aptitude, advanced knowledge, you can always build on and improve yourself and become better as you go along. So the fundamental issue is that there are various stages. You got to start somewhere, and then you go into an intermediate level, and then subsequently you become an expert or a specialist. And then beyond that standpoint, then you can design and deliver very specialized and highly complicated projects, like some of those I mentioned earlier on, like operating or programming a drone or programming an automation machine in an industrial application. So in a sense, there is various stages, but you got to start somewhere and build through a period of time. Your expertise becomes more and more, and you become more confident to handle more complex projects. The other important issue is that your knowledge of software application, it does not limit you to operate within a confined area. Like if you are within South Africa, you can still deliver international projects even from South Africa. The beauty of technology improving is that it allows you to operate at an international level while you are based locally. Thanks.
That I think that's very interesting, and certainly the internet has enabled us to be able to do such things. So here within South Africa, therefore, are you then saying that we are a part of the world in the bigger scheme of things, that here in South Africa, there is the scope to engage at an advanced level also in the digital space?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then the prospects within corporates, within industry across the board, provides still scope for young people now looking at furthering their career, getting an education. It provides sufficient scope for significant young people to actually get into the digital environment, even at a level 4, level 5 systems development.
Correct. I mean, that is a fundamental foundation that you need then you can branch over to other spheres later on. You need to have a good grounding, and I think that's where companies like iFundi come into play, because they give you the basic skills, the entry level into the environment, and then later on one can take the additional steps of taking over more complex projects. And obviously lessons come into play as well, because the more complex the projects, you also need to continually be studying and learning new tricks of trade. Thanks.
Yes, I really enjoyed your presentation and your conversation with us. Thank you for your inputs. And I think people who are listening to this, it will help them to get very good insights, understand the industry and the opportunity that is available for them. And that one realizes that you don't have to be coming in with high-level computer expertise to do programming. You started with the basic qualification, you have a good metric, you know how to use a computer, then you can start. You really want to learn. So we really would like to invite everyone and anyone, particularly young people and those who are just new or maybe already working in the industry. You want to make this a career, you want to learn programming, not just coding, but programming. This is an opportunity for you to take hold of and build your foundation and take that opportunity step by step.